Hey y'all, welcome in to People Aspen Tarot. I'm Gigi and this is my channel. Just wanted to pop on here and do a little chit chat video. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are self-caring, self-loving, okay? Doing all the things, okay? Putting God first, then putting yourself first, all right? But welcome in. I was inspired. I may I may sound a little nasally. Because I think I'm low-key coming down with like something sinusy or whatever. I also think I've just been keeping like the house too cold. I've been keeping the house too cold, and I think that it's like drying out, you know, my nasal passages and all this stuff. So if I sound a little nasally, that's why. But welcome in. I don't know about y'all, but I have been reacclimating to or circling back to understanding the power of rest. Okay. I had reflected back to the time where I was really grinding, had started a new career. Every time I came home, I was killing it in the gym, biking, like doing all the things, doing readings, running the business, doing all these things. And I think I talked about it on the channel. My eye was twitching for 3 months. And my homegirl had sent me this post, and then I had posted it. And it was talking about having like a high cortisol level or whatever, right? And so even though like I went to the doctor, went to the optometrist, all those things, I didn't test like the cortisol levels, right? But I reflected back and I looked at how much I was basically grinding and doing and going, and how much I was in masculine energy. And so now I have circled back around to the energy of rest and nourishment. And I've kind of like fluffed up a bit, but child, I know how to get it down. So, I'm not worried. But, I have started really acclimating to rest and chilling and watching my documentaries and watching the History Channel and reading, getting through my books, the 99 books that I have bought, you know what I mean? And so, getting back to like that same old energy, that same OG, right? Of, researching the things that I want to do, sitting, journaling. I fixed the hammock. I've been doing back in my garden. I've been doing like my little projects and stuff because our hammock situation was a hot mess. One of our homeboys that we've known for a long time, he actually built like the hammock holder, and I have a metal hammock holder, but the wooden one had like an old moldy hammock on there that my sister left outside, and it just like gathered water. It was so disgusting, y'all. So disgusting. So I went out there and cut that off, and it was like a lot of rope, so it took a while. Cut that off. Got rid of the other hammock that I bought, which was crazy because I remember when I bought it, I spent like maybe $40 on the damn thing, and it just became like a piece of trash. I was hanging on this wastefulness, right? So cut all that down, threw that away. I had my little niece out there with me. She loves being in the garden with me. And we saw this big old beetle that was like the size of my forehead. And my niece was like, whoa! I was like, oh, baby, we're going to go on about our business. We're going to go on about our business. We're going to finish this project once that beetle going on about its business, okay? But anyway, so hanging outside more, sitting more outside in nature, reading, just recalibrating, being like, regrounded or whatever. But in the midst of this, so I told y'all I've been on my documentaries. In the midst of this, I watched the Dancing with the Devil documentary. I watched a documentary on HBO. I want to say it was HBO. They have like the best stuff. But that documentary was about extremists, yeah, and cults, and like what makes people gravitate towards these cult-like energies. And so for me, I've always had a thing with like like the whole Jim Jones, all of that. Like I've always had like a low key interest in it because I never wanted to be a person who got sucked. Like, oh my god, oh my god, being sucked into a cult like on accident is like the biggest fear ever for me. Like people can have like all kind of, oh, I'm afraid of heights, I'm afraid. No, cults, okay, cults. Then I remember my homegirl, we were in college, and it's funny because they're insidious in this way that, you know, a lot of cults start like in the college era or whatever. I promise you, like, I'm getting to what I'm trying to talk about. And one of my homegirls, we were in college, and it was churchy. Listen when I tell you this. A lot of cults are religious ran. Period. Okay? Christianity and religion, you have to have the spirit of discernment. There are a lot of things that can be taken and ran with in the Bible. It could be used and put over people's head for an energy of control. Or a tool of control and manipulation. And when I tell you I am like a prosperity pastor's nightmare, okay? They hate to see me coming. I'm any type of illegitimate spiritual hierophant leader or position hates to see me coming. Do you understand? When I tell you I see through all of that, I see through the ego, I see through the greed, the love of money, I see through the manipulation, I see through the lust, I see through it all. I just see through the bullshit. I have always been very, very good at scoping out people's mask. Even like with my sister, I don't know really what it is. I don't really know what it is, but and I thank God for it. I call it discernment, but I don't know if it goes beyond that. But whatever that is, it's the reason why I know how to do this. So how I'm doing readings and how I'm picking up on energy and situations or whatever, that is what I was born with. So every church I go into, every meeting I go into, every coffee shop I go into, every friend gathering, I scope it up. Like it's not even like, oh, I'm looking for it. I just see it. So I'm not a person who, like, to say for instance, like if I was to fall in love, if I was to get married or whatever, that person is like a true person. It's probably like the purest and realest, most genuine, truest person that I have ever met in my life. A lot of people are just not that. And it's the way that, you know, I have certain goals in my life, and I want true community, and I want true love. You know what I'm saying? And I want true creatives around me, and true business, real things, people who are really talented, people who are, you know, all of these things, right? All these things. But anyway, religion and Christianity is a specifically for some reason, but we can even talk about the slave trade and how the Bible was used, and that's very cult like, to keep somebody enslaved and that's basically what a cult is, right? You disconnect from all your community. Yeah, because you disconnect from people who have discernment to say, hey, that's not a good thing, or hey, you need to watch out for that, or, you know, they don't want that advice to get in. Same thing when you are in a relationship with a narcissistic person. They want to hoard you. They just want to keep you there. They rip you away from friends, community, all these things, people who love you. And it's because they can have their way with you, and it's because they can, the longer you are around somebody or something, you don't realize it, but you are being mentally programmed. That's why I don't do that. People who, first of all, folks who are bold enough, all right? Some folks got the audacity. Some people won't talk the shit to your face, right? But some people will. But the folks who are bold enough to have the audacity to cut up and carry on in an energy of negativity around you, I don't play with that, because that's mental programming. Somebody cussing in the background, somebody talking negative about women's, you know, somebody just whatever it is. I don't do a lot of that. And it's funny because a lot of people will create narratives about you. They will create beef or whatever it is. Oh, this person don't whatever. No, Your ass got cut off because you are a negative being, and you are not going to pollute my mind, body, soul, and spirit with negative energy, period. But the thing is, when people are gravitated towards like cult like energy and all these things, or toxic relationships or toxic communities, um that plays a part in it. You're stuck there. You can't go anywhere. You're stuck there. Well, why are you stuck there? You stuck there so they can talk negative to you, so they can rewire your programming. You know how it's a trend online about like the before and after dealing with narcissistic people or toxic relationships or whatever. There's one girl, her hair was long, beautiful, flourishing, all that stuff. She was damn near bald headed, had hyperpigmentation, acne all over her face. Like, I mean, it was, and we can talk about it. Some people don't believe in spiritual warfare or principality, but the Bible tell you we don't war in flesh and blood, but principalities, which is the energy of the spirit. So, people don't realize that when you're in toxic dynamics, you can become ill, you can become sick, and it's because they are draining and removing they are draining and removing energy out of you. But if you look at them, they're shining, they're gleaming, they're glowing, and that's an energy transference. Just like when you get around, say you walk into a room and everybody crying, right? You will feel an energy shift. But if you are emotionally intelligent, then you have to be able to decide, okay, well, what did I just walk into? Why is everybody crying? You know what I mean? Like, you kind of start to get the information. But sometimes if you are a tender person, you can start crying just because somebody else started crying. You know what I mean? And that's what you call transference of energy. Like, it is what it is. You listen to like some gangster rap music, some drill music, whatever. Okay, that switches your energy. Cardi B was talking about that. Cardi B said that she had made some song and she said she felt like it woke demons in her about blah 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 blah. About how she used to be and all these things. And energy and emotions and music, energy, people, I don't get it. I don't understand why people can't understand, but everything is energy. Everything is vibrating at a certain frequency. Okay, and for the month, the motto or the focus, the theme is highest vibration. So at this moment, we are selecting the vibrations that are highest for ourselves to our best ability. Our wounds take that away, take that power away of us selecting highest vibrations for ourselves, our own autonomy and our own independence, whether that is emotionally, mentally, spiritually, whatever, financially, whatever. But I'm kind of going like all over the place, but y'all know how I am. Essentially, this video is about I've been kind of in the back of my head, I've been researching what makes people like cult prone or MAGA prone or whatever it is, right? Just prone to crazy stuff. So I was watching Dancing with the Devil I told y'all I watched Dance with the Devil. It was a HBO thingy over expose on extremists and why that's happening in the United States, whatever. It's also happening in Brazil though. Also very religious. So there's something about that. But I will say specifically, the reason why Christianity is used in a lot of these fear-based cults and religions and things of that nature is because there is a heaven and a hell in that religion, and that can be held over somebody's head. Okay, you're gonna burn for eternity if you do this, that, and the third. If you don't do this, that, and the third. And then also you have pastors who are taking on the identity, literally, okay, the identity of God, that, oh, I'm a man of God, I'm a woman of God, and I need to be held up on a pedestal higher than other people and all those things. All that is ego. And if we look deep into the Bible, that's what who did. El Diablo, that's what the devil did. The devil wanted to take whose place? God's place. Okay? It wasn't enough that he was blessed and that he was loved and that he had certain gifts that God had given him. But when you want to take the place of God, honey, that, okay, and a lot of people don't even realize that if you're trying to manipulate somebody, you are trying to play who? What? God, right? Everybody on earth is God's children. God created these folks. Once people step out of their ego and step into their humility and understand this, that I am human, I don't own nothing. Nothing is mine. Once you get to that mentality, nothing is mine. Because people start to grab on, oh, that's my girl. That's my man. Oh, that's my this. Oh, that's my that. That's mine. That's my this. That. No. Everything in life is a blessing. That's how I see it. Everything in life is a blessing. You don't own this person. You don't own this. You don't own this ideology. You are not God. You did not create this person. This person has a mission that's placed on their own life. They have a purpose. They have passions. They have talents. All these things. And people got to watch that. People have to watch that because sometimes people's relationships become their God. And everything that God had put into them, the things that God are expecting to get out of them, is literally sitting. It's just because they're more focused on a distraction versus God's path and purpose for them. Okay? And that's when a relationship comes with God, right? But, and we can say that because I'm kind of talking, I have been trying to figure out, what is it? Like, what is the formula of the cult? Like, what the fuck, But I started thinking, how did this happen to this person and how did they get duped? Like, what was it? So I was watching Dancing with the Devil. And this is particularly, and I had never heard about this, whatever, but there were a group of TikTok dancers, and I was like, oh my God. There was a group of TikTok dancers, and it was this one guy named Daniel, and Daniel was connected to this church, and the pastor of the church was like his dad or whatever. Again, because we're going to get into it, because I've broken it down, baby. Broken it down. Daniel was either like without family or something like that, and the guy kind of like took the place of the father role. Pay attention, okay? took the place of the father role. So Daniel's dancing around, whatever, and all these dancers are TikTok famous and have like almost, maybe right under 1 million of followers, like hundreds of thousands of followers, right? Basically, these are followers that they created on their own, doing on their own dancing skills, on their own popularity, on their own likeness. So, they're hanging out around each other more and more, which is really prevalent in the dance community. Dance is one of the most beautiful communities. And they're all over the place. Like, you can go to Japan and there's a dance community there. China, there's a dance community there. Black folks, there's a dance community there, So, it's a beautiful community to have, and they are very loving, and they're all very, very accepting. And a lot of people who are in these communities did not come from wealth, So it's a place of refuge, just like how people join basketball teams and football teams and whatever, It's another source for community. So they all started going to this church together and all the stuff. The pastor ended up being a freaking psychomaniac, literally sexually assaulting people, also taking all of their money, because the dancers were like, we're getting these opportunities, right? But the management companies aren't hitting me back, and I need somebody to basically man the business deals or whatever. If I was them, I would have been doing it myself, but I'm an Aquarius, so, a little different. So they were looking for management. Because the thing is, I'm like, okay, half of the problem, or half of the main issue with people online who are influencers, whatever, whether they're beauty, dance, whatever, it's actually, getting the deals, right? So, shit, that you didn't put in the work to the point to where the brands are reaching out to you and all these things. I get I want somebody doing the business side, but a lot of times when you bring in managers and third parties and all this stuff, people get got, Look at Terrell Owens. You know what I mean? People get got. And the thing is, you can have the talent, and then you don't have the business side of the aspect, and then you just get screwed over, straight like that. So, and it's from a place of ignorance and not knowing. But you're thinking, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, da da da. So they made the man their dang manager. So they got that, right? So he's doing the business deals, whatever, and it was actually doing good for a while, whatever. Then it goes to them being a part of the church. So then they're paying the business part of, which is like M7, the entertainment management company. They're paying that. Then, because they didn't join this damn church/cult, they paying the man of God money, which is a tithe to the pastor. Then they're paying a regular offering. Then they're paying people who work in the church but also work in the damn management group, and they're paying them for photography, for editing, for editing, and this and that and third. Then they're giving the woman of God, which is the wife, money. And then they're doing all this. I'm talking about, baby, by the time all that money got taken out, all they had left was chump change, okay? All they had left was chump change. And so that's financial abuse as well, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm like, why in the hell? Now, this is when it really got bad, because he got up on that pulpit and told them people that they need to die to themselves and they need to basically die to like the life that they known. So that meant that they had to remove themselves from their family. So this is when it started to become very, very cult-like. And the family started worrying. This is how we got the documentary and all these things. And he has just really brainwashed the hell out of these people. It is like so sad. A lot of people left it though, or whatever. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, nah, this is crazy. I'm like, nah, at this point, this person should know that it's time for them to get up out of here. Like, okay, at this point, you got to know that this is weird. They were having like these weird dinners and like, it was just strange, right? But all of it was under the guise of Christianity. And they wanted to be closest to God. So, the family came down to see the girl, right? Because her grandfather had died. And her grandfather was like a male figure in her life that almost was like her father, like very close. And they were like, what in the hell, you know, you don't want to come down to see, for your grandfather's funeral. Like, this is like crazy, And that's when they started to notice that, like, okay, something is really off. So the parents go down there and they're trying to get her to come. And the girl says, they were like, the girl kept saying, like, well, I have to see. Like, I don't know. Like, I have to see. And they're like, what are you talking about? You have to see. Like, a family member is dying who played a pivotal part in your life. So what is there to see? Like, so they were putting together like that she had to get permission or ask or something like that. So she finally comes out and says, I have to ask somebody who's closer to God. I have to ask the closest person to God in my life if I can go to my grandfather's funeral. And then the dad said he looked at her and her face, like, he was just like, oh my God, like, she's gone. Like, in that moment, he started like grieving his child. And it's so funny because, not funny, but I always talk about how the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And people play with this social media shit that we have going on, y'all. When the Bible tells you that, and I know it's hard to continue to like throw out Bible verses and to talk about God and all these things when so many people are using it in the wrong way. But I do believe that as a woman who's, in her 30s, there is there's true knowledge and true truth in that Bible that I have seen play out in real time in my adult life, where I know that whatever spirit, whatever energy is in that Bible, that there is a lot of truth to those words, okay? And if we talk about the 7 deadly sins, that if we watch men, we say within the black community, I see black men fall prey to the energy of lust and lose everything that they got. I see people fall under the energy of gluttony and be in the hospital, with cancer, diabetes, all these things, well, cancer is kind of like, you could be super healthy and it just, because there's environmental toxins and stuff like that. But anyway, anger, avarice, which is greed, people who fall into these traps, everything that they worked for, they lose. Like, bro, it is so true. When the Bible say honor your mother and your father, I have seen people who did not honor their mother and their father. And when I tell you, I mean, I think we talk about witchcraft and all this stuff, but I think that is one of the worst curses that you can have put on your life. Once you disrespect your mother and your father, everything that you touch gonna turn into damn dust. I swear, I've seen it. I have seen it. I've seen it. You may not even be in your right mind after that. You may not even be fully able. I'm telling you, never have a dime to your damn name. Like, I'm telling you, bitter, lonely, no, can't create, can't. Telling you, it's real. Okay, but anyway, so I was trying to figure out, how did people get duped, whatever. So the parents came over, saw her, and was like, oh my god, she's literally gone. Like this is crazy. So you have to be careful with a lot of the information that you take in. Okay, your mind and your belief system, your knowledge runs who you are. It is the pillar of who you are. Your programming, where you come from, right? And this is number one. This is my number one, and you can listen to this, you don't have to listen to it, whatever, but I feel like this needs to be put out there because social media needs to come with a warning label, because a lot of people don't have the ability to think for themselves. Okay, but number one, how did they get duped? What is the cult formula? Number one is the community. Okay. Family, friends, and traditional narratives, which also can lead to generational karma and curses. I call this fishbone mentality, right? So I come from the South, and there's small rural towns like on the outskirts of the cities and stuff like that. And I always talk about people having fishbone mentality. Once I identify that you have fishbowl mentality, because I love a small town, okay? I love a small town, just can't live in them. But I love a small town. I love a slower pace of life. I love gardening. I love the country. I love all that. But baby, once you show me that you have a small town mind, that you got a fishbowl mentality, it is over, okay? It's a done deal. It's done. I cannot, okay? Baby, I love folks who think big. I love folks who are independent thinkers and who can think for themselves and even come up in an environment and be like, nah, that's not right. And those are the ones who we talk about are the black sheeps and the all went out and all this stuff, because the thing is that certain traditional narratives can create generational karma and curses, okay? Because they are rooted in, for one, a lack mentality. Everything that is connected to the devil, everything that is connected, and I'm starting to remove that, because for me everything in life is either it's high vibrational or low vibrational. That's it. That's it. So my religion, I just say my religion is love. And what is love? It is the highest vibration. And what is God? God is love. Okay, and love is connected to what? Truth. So for me, that's it. That's the end all be all for me. So I have noticed that low vibrational entities or low vibrational energy is connected to wounds, a lack mentality, feeling like you're not being seen, feeling like there's something wrong with you, feeling like there's something missing in your life. Okay, that's why I don't play with the spirits of envy and jealousy. Okay, that's when somebody is sitting there thinking that this person's life is amazing and I'm lacking that. Okay, that's why gratitude and thankfulness is one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself, because instead of you sitting down and saying this person has this, that, and the third and I don't have that, you're sitting and you're saying, God, thank you for this, thank you that I have this, thank you for this, thank you for, you are manning your own energy. Your energy isn't going out towards other people. Okay, oh, this person got this and I don't have this and I don't got this, I don't got this. To me, that's very low vibrational. Ungratefulness is very low vibrational. God don't have to put breath in your body every day. People forget that. God don't have to keep you in good health. Because a lot of times folks is not even, they doing everything to make themselves sick. Okay, they down at the Popeyes every day, all right? Hello, they drinking all the alcohol. They vaping every day. They smoking the hookah. They doing all of these things. They doing everything in their power not to be healthy. Okay? And every day God is like, I'm giving him another chance. Every single day God is like, you know what? I believe in my daughter. I believe in my son. I'm just gonna keep loving him. Just like a parent love a wayward ass child. Like, that's just like the problem child. God love us the same way. But anyway, so community, families, tradition, narratives, all that stuff. Fishbowl mentality. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. Okay. Your mind can only go off of what it believes and knows. So that's why I think sometimes things is supernatural. Like, I think that sometimes, like, when we're born, we innately love. We're not looking at the color of folks' skin. We're not looking at their body size, because that's a lot of things. That's another thing, that people are so shallow. People are so fucking shallow. They are so all they look at is the physicality of folks, or the money, or the materials. And people don't understand it. People don't understand it until they get got a couple of times. Lower vibrational energies. Okay. Folks who wear masks, they love money. They love to look and to present a certain way. So we talk about the spirit of Jezebel. The spirit of Jezebel is beautiful. Y'all ever heard somebody say, oh, it's a handsome devil? Handsome devil. The spirit of Jezebel uses her beauty. Okay? So things that look beautiful, richness. A lot of men who are harboring low vibrational energies and entities, they are rich. They are rich. You also have to understand that folks who don't give a damn about nothing and nobody but money, guess what? They're going to have what? Money. That's not an indication. That's not an indicator of a good human, okay? But they use these things. They use these things to look a certain way, to attract. People don't understand that, like, finances and material manipulation. That's witchcraft in itself. Like, literally. There's beauty spells, there's mirror spells, because people know that beauty plays a part of attraction, and that riches plays a part of attraction. All that is very Venus based energy, you know what I mean? But anyway, okay. So it can, because I keep getting off my nose. So it can only go off what it believes and knows. Your mind can only go off of what it believes and knows, okay? So this is what I was trying to get to. We are innately born with the energy of love, but as we grow, we get out of that. As we grow, some people can lose that divine compass, that divine spirit that God has put in us, that consciousness. That, like, when you do something wrong, you feel guilty. Some people, they don't have that. Or they'll have that, and what they'll start to do is they'll take this information and they'll start to twist the information to make it sound like they're doing a good thing. That's essentially what brainwashing is. That, I'm doing this because, like, Christian nationalists be talking about sending African angels, whatever, because they think that Africa is like the slum of the world and, like, all of this stuff. They think that they're praying and that they're doing a good thing. That they're doing a good thing and that they're helping this person. And sick-minded people do that. Oh, I watched a movie on Netflix. I forgot the name, but I think it was called The Seamstress or something like that. To make a long story short, this man met this woman. This was like maybe in the 1800s, whatever. Met this woman. He was a designer. She was a model to model the clothes. They ended up falling in love. She was of a lesser class in the class system. She was of a lesser class than him. Ended up falling in love. And they ended up being together. But then he kind of ventured off and, like, wanted somebody else or whatever, right? So she went outside and foraged and was like, yeah, I'm gonna cook for you. She went outside, foraged some mushrooms, cooked the mushrooms, and put it in his food, and the mushrooms temporarily paralyzed him. Okay? Temporarily paralyzed him. And told him, oh, I'm just doing this for your good. I'm doing this for your own good. and that our love is what's best for you, and like and all of these stuff. And he actually ended up staying. Like, it was like a crazy mind f. But that's what people do. They do toxic, ill-minded things, and then tell you, oh, but this is, this is, I do this because I love you. Okay, I'm poisoning you, and I'm doing this because I love you. And that's when people, you can really see that things become like psychotic or sick-minded or ill-minded, where they're starting to use knowledge to warp things to make it seem that it's good, when and then so they try to bypass that spiritual compass, or consciousness, that tells you, I don't know, my eyes just burning, that tells you this is something that you shouldn't be doing, right? Or people who lie. I find that too. People who, what do they call it? They lie with, they use omission to lie. They use, oh, I didn't lie, but I didn't tell you the whole truth. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I didn't lie, so I'm a good person. Like, and, I'm a good-hearted person. I didn't lie. Yeah, you did. You know what I'm saying? I'm very big on, like, I'm not about to play with you, and you're not about to play with me, and I'm gonna call it exactly what it is, okay? And that is also an energy of gaslighting as well. All that is to twist and warp the mind, because everything starts in the mind. So, be praying for your mind, and be thanking God that you have a sound mind, and that you can independently think and all these things. So anyway, so again, I'm trying to break down, why is this happening to people? What's going on? How are people getting sucked into this, And so for some of it, it is because of the fishbowl mentality. Okay, this person grew up in the tradition of racism. Oh, don't bring a black girl home. She can't run a comb through her hair. I remember that. I have a thing for interracial. Like, I like the white guys. So I remember I was in college, and I still know this guy to this day. And he seemed like he liked me, and I was giving little hints, whatever. And one day we all sat down, and a lot of these folks, white folks from the South, we sat down and we all had an open and honest conversation about the tradition of racism. And a lot of them, were liberal, and they were just and they literally said that it's hard to break their grandmothers and their grandfathers and their great uncles and stuff out of this way, because that's what the social norm was when they were young. And then a lot of them, they'll go through Alzheimer's, dementia, and they'll go back to that time frame, because that they predominantly lived in predominantly white neighborhoods, and with racism, that was the social norm. But I remember we had a conversation, and he said that his grandmother had said, if she can't run a comb, she didn't say that to me per se, but he told her, she told him, if you can't run a comb through her hair, then you better bring somebody else, And even in the black community, my grandfather has told me the same thing. Don't bring no, what did he call him? Well, I ain't gonna say what he said, but he said that, and I kind of be thinking about that, and I be like, but I kind of like him, But anyway, so community, tradition, and all these things, these narratives can help strengthen cults and things like that. And so if you are born Christian, and it's specifically Christianity that is tied in with these cults, it's the strangest thing. So if you are born up on Christianity, you were raised up on Christianity, and if you don't have enough spiritual discernment to be able to discern that, okay, this person is using the Bible, but this is not it, right? You can't just be you can't literally be a sheep, and just go out after what people are saying. That's why on this channel I talk about having a personal relationship with God. Okay. Let's see. Okay. My next point was, okay, when you limit education, you limit healing. And when you limit healing, you limit freedom. So, You limit education, you limit freedom, right? You limit education, you limit healing. And through healing, you become free, okay? Also, the truth is spun into this because in order to heal anything, it has to start with the truth. So sometimes people, baby, they born and die and don't know the truth. That's just it. Not really knowing God, not really knowing God's, the truth of who God is, because God is not telling anybody to hate nobody. Okay. Now, Jesus did do what? And I was talking about this. Jesus did do what? He said, dust off your feet and go. He didn't say brainwash them. He didn't say manipulate them. He didn't say stand there. He said dust off your feet and go. You go out there, you put out your message. If they don't want to hear it, anybody that don't want to hear you, I don't care if it's in your house, your community, your neighbor, dust off your feet and go. Okay, dust off your feet and go. And you know how they say a lot, Jesus' own community didn't see his worth. Dust off your, what he do? Stop sitting there and arguing with people, relationships and all this stuff. Oh yeah, you trying to I want you to see my worth. Oh yeah, all this stuff. Man, dust off your feet and go. And quit talking to them people. And quit wasting your time. And giving all these people your energy. Okay? This is not a fucking 5th grade, 6th grade science project. This is life. This is real life. We on God's time. We using real time. We got real energy within us. Like, we really here. We are really here. We on purpose. We on passion. We on call. We on mission. Like, we don't have time. Like, you got to understand that. We don't have time. We don't have time for people that, I'm just going to sit there and, whatever. But also with this whole thing, anytime somebody's trying to persuade you or trying to get you, that's when you know something is like, something is a little off, I'm gonna have to close that window because I think my allergies are starting to act up. But anyhow, yeah. So you limit the truth, and you have to identify that as well. Even in your relationships, a person who is hiding the truth, who is hiding the knowledge of who they are, what they're doing, where they're going with, and I'm not saying like be some weirdo, that's like obsessed, whatever. But when people hide things, they don't want to educate you. They're trying to limit your knowledge on who they are, what they do, where they come from, all these things. Right? So, you limit the knowledge. You limit the healing. You limit the healing. You limit the freedom. That is not a relationship where you will be free in. Okay? That love can flow freely in. And love is synonymous to what? To truth. It's just, I get on here and I say the same thing. And you can take this and apply it to like so many different sectors and factors of your life. Like, it's just that, So a lack of education, right? So for one, some people do. They fall under this cult guise or whatever from a lack of education, a lack of critical thinking. But that's not always the case. I was talking to a woman, elderly lady, a Caucasian elderly lady. And she said, who was it? I don't know if she said if it was her sister or somebody in her family. Doctoral, everything, and fell under the guise of Trump and all that stuff. And so we cannot always say that, people fall prey to this because they're uneducated. Some of them are very educated. And that was the next step. I was like, man, I have to figure out what it is, right? So, you know how basically we're talking about people who have an educational lack, right? Or they don't know no better. And I actually came across a guy. He was from Washington State, not Washington D.C. He was from Washington State, and I ran into him somewhere. He was handing out Juneteenth pins, and we sat down and had a whole conversation. And he said that he read the book White Privilege, right? Again, what am I saying? You limit education, you limit knowledge. What are books? Knowledge, education, right? You limit education, you limit healing, you limit freedom. Okay. He said that he started reading books. This was around the Black Lives Matter movement. He was reading books. He said he read White Privilege. He said it just, like, the world busted open. He said he did not know. And he said he does better now because he knows better. Okay, he said he grew up in an all white towns all of his life in Washington. He said he had barely even seen a black person. He said I think he said there was like some Hispanics or whatever. He said he was not exposed to new ideas, new education, new thinking. He was not exposed to the history and the truths of other peoples. And when I say peoples, Native Americans, African Americans, Mexican Americans, Latinos, or he didn't. And that's why people have to understand that when we, even coming from an art history background, baby, I can sit up and I can identify every single European artist that you could ever freaking study, read about, think of. Like, it's just bam in my head. But it is not the same. We, like, when we are taught Euro standards and European history, and that was important. And it's crazy though, because just like right now on planet Earth, there are so many different dialects, there's so many different cultures and languages, right? So it's like people never thought back to question that, like, okay, why are we only learning about this, right? So now we have Gustav Klimt. He's coming out with paintings that was hidden, right? That he painted himself of black folks, but these were not the paintings that went to the museums, right? That people travel thousands and thousands of miles to go to every year, right? That's not being put on board. There was another one down here in Louisiana. The what museum? It's like the State Museum in Louisiana. Somebody was looking, like one of the paint techs or whatever was looking, and they're like, it's a smudge right here, like, whatever. So they go to clean the paint. It's a whole black person in the painting that was painted over. The actual artist put it there, but through the times of Jim Crow, racism, yada yada yada, they went on there and painted over them. And even with my lineage being a Creole woman, there were a lot of Creole aristocrats in New Orleans at the time, and I'm learning about all that too. I'll just geek around. That's all I do. I just geek around. But anyway, knowledge is power. My mentor that I grew up on told me knowledge is power in action, and that can be dangerous to some folks who don't want you to have knowledge and certainly don't want you to take action on anything. Okay. But the guy that I talked to from Washington, he said I was exposed. He said I felt like a bubble bursted, And there's so much money and resources that are going into people not busting that bubble. They don't want that bubble to be burst. Okay. So, the mind is a terrible thing to waste, but I do think that there is still a consciousness inside of people that God innately put there that tells them, like, this is, you ain't supposed to do that. You're not supposed to hate that person because of the color of their skin, or because they're a man, or because they're a woman, or because they're trained. You're not supposed to do that, right? And the thing is that you can identify with, you don't agree with somebody's lifestyle, but you don't have to hate them, you don't have to harm them, you don't have to hurt them, right? Because even if we go off of the Bible, God gave us what? Free will. Period. God gave us free will. Cult-like activity is the opposite of that. It's manipulating people out of their free will to stay stuck for somebody to gain off of it or whatever, right? So, lack of education, right? But again, like I said, sometimes it's not that. Sometimes people are educated and are super decorated with degrees, and they still fall under the guise. This was the thing. So there could be a educational lack. Not all the time. People can have an educational lack, and then they go into falling prey for cults. They can have like a critical thinking hack, and they fall for cults, whatever, right? The second one is insidious, guys. So I was watching Dancing with the Devil, and it was a Korean woman. Her mom abandoned her, and her dad abandoned her, and she became, as an older sister, the caretaker for her younger sister. Okay. She said that her mom would be gone like months at a time. I think she could have been an alcoholic, something like that. I have a homegirl who talked about uh, being what is the word? Taken advantage of, I guess you can say, by a pastor when she was younger. And she said she didn't realize it until she became a woman that he basically preyed on her. And then so she went through like the legal route and all that stuff. But she said that she thought back and she said, I was a child alone going up to this church and was catching rides and all of these things, right? When you have abandonment wounds and when children aren't properly protected, they grow up to become adults who seek community. And sometimes it doesn't matter what kind of community that is. It could be a negative community, right? It could be a positive one. It could be the queer community. It could be whatever, because people are searching and looking for things that they feel that they lack. Again, at the top of the video, I was talking about how lack is how the devil gets in. That's why you have to know your worth, and that's why you have to be grateful and thankful for where you are in your life, wherever you are in your life. Once you start to feel like, oh, I'm lonely, I don't have no man, you open up the door for a fucking idiot to come in. Okay? Literally. Somebody who coming to take. There are so many women who are smart, who are beautiful, have their own. They have their degrees. They find their finances. Their bank account is filled to the brim, right? And it's just a sucker waiting. It's just a sucker sitting around the corner waiting for them to be like, you know what? I'm really lonely. A sucker who can't do shit for himself or anybody else, or even the kids that he already had, or whatever. I'm just, just waiting. And that is parasitic energy. That's parasitic energy. You want community, but you want, and I understand falling into hard times and needing help and all of that, but some folks don't want to change. You know what I'm saying? Some folks don't want to change. That's why I don't listen to a sob story. You peddling around a sob story, that's against my religion. I tell people that. People be laughing. Don't tell me no goddamn sob ass story. I'll take my money to the to Star Hope, where I know people where it's single mothers and they actually trying to get clean, or they actually trying to get homes for their children, they actually trying to get jobs and things like that. I'm gonna go and give my money to the Bread of Life, where I know that they going out to they handing out literal bread, food plates to the homeless and all of the stuff. Don't come around me with no sob ass story. And when you say in the sob story, you need to also be able to take responsibility and accountability of how you got yourself in that sob ass story and where that narrative came from, because it's a victim narrative. And y'all already know. Like, I feel like my community already know. I'm very truthful. I tried the whole softening, whatever. But the thing is that that's not there are other healers. I don't even like to call myself that. But there are other thought leaders and healers who can do all that. But for me, I have an understanding of the truth. The truth shall set you free. Okay? And I'm not going to play with that. And I also don't care about having smoke because of that. Because the thing is, if God gave me a gift, right? If God gave me a gift and I'm covered in the truth, right? And I'm covered with the Holy Spirit, and I'm in alignment with His energy, I don't give a damn what you doing, what you coming with, what you have to. I don't give a damn what the opposition is. If I am made for this, I'm protected in this. You know what I'm saying? And so people, I'm just saying. But folks don't like to hear the truth, but that's not my quarrel. That's not that's whatever. My ministry is my ministry. And even when people come around me and they are in a mask and they are in a facade, sometimes I don't even, I just remove myself from the situation. But if I was to lay their ass flat, and if I was to say this is the truth about the situation, yada 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 yada, I'll have an op. I'll have an opposition. People don't like to hear the truth, but once you have truthful conversations with people, and you identify that they can identify that they need to take responsibility and accountability, man, boom, you got a person with character, okay, and you got a person who's in alignment with God, okay, and the truth. But going back to this abandonment wounds, okay, this is how low vibrational energy seep in. All right, When you start to feel like you are missing out or something, that's when you go searching. When you feel like you're missing out, that's when you go searching, and boom, that's when you run into the damn devil. I'm telling you, people who get caught up in cult-like energies, they have an abandonment. And here's the thing though. You can be abandoned in emotional ways. You can be financially abandoned, like these kids getting kicked out at 18 years old, or gay kids getting kicked out because they gay. You know, they fall into the cracks. Like, and again, I don't like to throw around the word demonic, but that's what it is. They get seeped away into demonic cracks, right? So financial wounds, emotional wounds. Oh, my mama don't love me. Oh, my daddy don't love me. You know, somebody, they're looking for a soft place to land. They're looking for emotional connection. And it's funny though, because I feel like people who are on assignment, whether that, if you are on assignment of God's energy on the light side, or if you are on assignment on the dark side, both energies can see this in people. You can see weakness and where their hurt is and where their pain is. Gifted people can see that. But sometimes, even though a person is gifted, it doesn't mean that they're working from a higher octave, right? Some people can be working from a lower octave and be like, you know what, I'm gonna flip bread off of this person. Like, I'm gonna get money off of this person, right? And it's funny because I came across this girl that I used to watch, and everybody know her in the spiritual community, but I pegged her correctly. And I think everything that she does is for money. I think that she has a poverty wound. I can see that in her, and everything is about money with her. But she gets on, and she has the gift. She has the gift to identify things in people. She can identify patterns in people just like I can identify patterns. She have the gift, but she use it in a fucked up way. And that's the thing. It's like, whether you on assignment for the opposition or you on assignment with the light, where you actually trying to show up, you actually trying to heal people, you actually trying to help people, and you actually trying to show people the way. But again, at the same time, you have to keep that balance of like, I can't save nobody. All I can do is I am a catalyst. You come to my page, you listen to this, whatever, you're going to have a mental shift. And people like that, it's like, I don't know, either you're very accepted or you're not. Either you're very accepted or you're not. But either way, you're not supposed to feel a way. And that's about that humility. It doesn't matter. I'm here if you're clapping for me or if you're throwing tomatoes. Okay, boo. Throwing tomatoes. And the thing is, it doesn't matter because I'm positioned here. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I easily do. You know what I'm saying? Like, doing this is as easy as breathing, bro. So that's how you know. That's how you know. And if I could hoop as easy as I can breathe, I would be hooping. You know what I'm saying? My hoop dreams came a little later. I had already. If you know my family history, it's very funny. But my hoop dreams came a little later. I was not interested in it. But I'm just saying, whatever comes to you as easy as breathing, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And also, I don't let anybody or anything get in the way of this. Like, I'm just a very discerning person. Like, and it's hard. I can even say, like, within like my love relationships and stuff like that, because I just be like, I feel like I'm older. Like, I just feel like a 80-year-old person. That's like, you know how old people will say anything to anybody because they just don't care? Like, I think I'm very much so like that. And it's kind of exhausting. It's a little exhausting to keep dealing with people who wear masks and who I can tell something is wrong, something is off. And this is not from being in the energy of, I stick around long enough to catch real patterns. I stick around long enough to actually see the breadcrumbs. And then I'm like, oh, no, don't want to be a part of that, But anyway, abandonment wounds, all right? This is how the devil slips in. Again, sometimes it's financial, people getting kicked out, whatever. Then they try to go to whoever has the money, or whoever they're looking to be saved. And that's what I was saying, that, even though you're out here, you're doing the work, whatever, you can't save no damn body. Okay, like I said earlier, I could be the catalyst of change. I can say something that can shift. Another thing that I don't really talk much about, but I have the gift to talk people off the ledge, which I've done many a times. But, and again, that's a part of being a catalyst, and I work with people who have that type of ideation and things of that nature. But I don't talk too much about that, because but I'm explaining it now because that's what a catalyst is. And the thing is, you can be the catalyst and have help people have that change in that mental program, to deprogram, to start to heal, to start the healing, to see the truth, to get the freedom in whatever situation it is. Understand that anything that is low vibrational or demonic is bondage. Bondage is not freedom. Okay? Education, truth, knowledge. Identifying whatever is going on, whatever is wrong, identifying that brings in the freedom. That's why I don't deal with people who can't take accountability and responsibility. Folks that whole nice guy trope, or they have this mask of who they are. No, I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. I'm telling you, and I'm identifying a real pattern here, right? And you need to be able to identify and take responsibility for that, and then change that ego mask of, oh, I'm this nice guy, I'm this nice person, like, I'm this, no, you're not. Let's call things what it is. So when you identify, okay, whether it's an addict, whatever it is, whether it's an abusive person or whatever, and a lot of people, when they don't do that, that's when you can really identify that there's a narcissistic personality trait, and the character and who they invented, the character in their head, whatever, that is what it is. Okay, and once you identify that, all you can do is just dust off your feet and go. Okay, dust off your feet and go. When you identify things, you say, hey, I have a problem with this. This keeps happening. Hey, we're coming back to the table. Hey, I'm pulling you to the carpet. Hey, da. And that pattern keeps continuing. That person either does not have the ability or does not want to accept accountability or responsibility. So therefore, if you can't have a relationship with anybody like that, you can't have a connection, you can't have a business partnership, you can't have anything that can grow, right? Anything that can grow, develop, evolve, nothing can change. That's stagnancy. And 9 times out of 10, you can go 10, 15 years down the line, and that person is still the same way, because of the lack of accountability and taking responsibility for these patterns and to change. Or they'll start to create a community that it allows them to be in that way, But anyway, abandonment wounds is how these cult-like energies fall in and slip in. And again, financial, emotional, a lot of people are looking for a soft place to land. They're looking for a safe space. They're looking for a refuge. And I've said that about online being a safe space. I used to get on here and get on my soapbox and talk about the space ain't safe, and it's not. Okay, when you are a creative and you're putting your energy, effort, you're putting your light out there, yada yada, whoop de whoop, and people are trying to siphon off that, the space is not safe. So again, when people have emotional wounds, they are looking for a soft place to lay their head. They're looking for refuge. They're looking for a space that could, especially women, we become more feminine, and we flourish and we blossom in softness. Okay. A lot of women in this day and age are having issues with infertility. And again, I have to be very nuanced with that, because everybody's situation is different. Everybody is different. But what I will say is that when women are in masculine energy, when we are overworked, when we have to make all of the decisions, when we are the breadwinners, you see what I'm saying? When we are doing, we're in all of this action oriented energy. A woman is supposed to be in their femininity. The empress sits on her throne. The emperor gets off of the throne. The empress is flourishing. Let me pull out my tarot card, because the empress is flourishing on her throne, and she's nurturing where she is. Everything is growing around her. Okay, the trees, the forest is growing. It's little ducks and mama duck and baby duck. Things are growing. Bloodlines and lineages are flowing around her. The waters are flowing. The rivers is flowing. I'm telling you. And people talk about, oh, tarot is this, tarot is demonic, and la 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 la. There's a lot of symbolism in this. Okay. This is the Empress card in this deck, but I need to get the regular deck. Dude, my freaking nieces came down. I will be making I will be making a homemade soup. Yeah, there we go. Bingo. Bingo. All right. The Empress. You see how all the trees is fruitful in the back? They're bearing. Y'all, please. I'm getting my nails done tomorrow. I tried to call my nail tech, and he said he didn't have no freaking. I said, all right now. Because I've been here. I've been faithful for years. But I'm not going to lie. I cheated on him. Because last time I got my nails done. But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, sir, you look. I've been here for years. Now you stepping out on me, so I'm stepping out on you, Anyway, so, okay, so on here, she's sitting in comfort, the lap of luxury, whatever, with the pillows back there, right? And then here, she is pregnant. All the animals are happy and everything is blooming and flourishing. Also, her hair is very long, okay? Her hair is very long. It just talks about the energy of growth. And then she has her wand where she's like in power, okay? Her hair is growing and flourishing. Beautiful, healthy afro, But women, we flourish when we are in a safe space. And a lot of men are having dating issues, can't find a woman, all this stuff, whatever. And it's just simply because, and we're just going to keep it a buck, bro. I'm sick of all this online dating, this, that, la, 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 la. If you as a man are sending out signals that you are unsafe, you will not get married, okay? Unless the woman is more interested in being married and the look, the material, the, whatever. She's not really interested in developing a family and having a loving provider, having a loving man, showing, because the thing is that kids don't learn by talking to them. Kids learn by what they see. So whatever your man is, your husband is, that's why I say becoming a mother or father, or being a great mother or father, starts even before you have children. It starts with you selecting who you are deciding to have a family with. That's serious shit. That's shit that I don't play about. I take my dating life serious. Okay, and I don't care. Like, I don't care who I rub the wrong way. I don't care if men don't like to be rejected. All this stuff. I'm a woman who was born and raised in the South, who was born and raised in Houston. Try me. Okay, if I tell a man, sorry, I'm not interested, and they have a problem with that, well, we're just gonna have to work that problem out. Okay, because the thing is that women have the right to autonomy and the right to consent and the right to say, I want to be a part of this relationship, I don't want to be a part of this relationship. I don't play with no man who be trying to act like they obsessive, spinning the block, popping up at the door, all that. I am a woman from Houston, Texas. I'm a southern woman, okay? And y'all can fill in the blanks with that. But a lot of men are unsafe And so women aren't in their femininity because they feel like they have to protect themselves from the man or the world or the whatever, right? Anyway, there are many different types of abandoned wombs, but I feel that the thing that pulls in folks into cults is loneliness. I've seen that as a common denominator. Loneliness. And then loneliness turns into bitterness, and bitterness turns into anger. There's also an energy or a synergy of self-hate. A lot of them, it's very strange. A lot of them like are on, like they have health issues. They are obese. They are, all of this is just lower level insidious energy. Maybe I should say insidious. It becomes insidious because you can identify that you have issues or you have a problem or whatever, that you're lonely or that you're bitter. But see, it takes a lot of character to be like, you know what, I'm bitter in this space and I'm mad at this, that, and the third, and dealing with those emotions and then moving forward. These are people, we can add that, a lack of emotional intelligence. I'm mad, so I want to be around people who are also mad. I hate, right? So I want to be around other people who hate, you know. I've seen a narrative of, within that community, I hate my mother, I hate my father, I hate this, I hate that. All these people, okay, well, you ask, okay, well, what happened with that? Well, you know, a whole victim narrative story where they aren't taking the accountability and responsibility for what they did in their life as a grown person, but they're blaming it on parents. They're blaming it on all this, that, and the third. So they hate the parent. They hate this person, right? They hate that where they are in life. They hate that they didn't do this, and then they're jealous of people who did that. Like, all of this is like, bruh, like, this is insidious when we get to that part. Like, this is insidious in nature. Like, we're human, people make mistakes. That's why the Bible talks about forgiveness. Forgiveness is for you, not them. Forgiveness. Moving on. Why are you spending your people almost 50, 60 still talking about they angry at their mama, they daddy, they this, they the ex, the this, what that, and then they went, like, try to figure out, okay, well, why are they sick, you know, right? And I believe in a lot of traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, and they talk about, you know, yin deficiency or yin deficiency. And again, like I said earlier, this is yin is in the energy where you feel safe at home, whatever. Yang is in the energy where you have to go out, do, activate, all of this stuff, right? But I think that everything stems from that. Like, I really do. Like, you know how you're born into a family, a mother, a father. That's yin and yang. Everything stems from that. You know, it stems. Some people have certain issues in life, whether that's health issues or whatever, but it started when they were born. You were born with it. You know, that's, again, yin and yang, the energy of creation. So, and I do think that there's an energy, a yin and yang in all narratives. Like the narratives that people say, these womb-based narratives, I do think that the creation of the narrative holds yin and yang energy, right? This person did me this because I was in my yin energy. I sat back and let this person do this. This is meaning somebody is doing something. That's masculine energy, an action taken, right? But we have to be able to take accountability when we, okay, well then, dang, I should have been in my yang energy, right? I should have been in my action oriented energy and protected myself. And that's where you have to take accountability. Okay, but some situations you just can't. You can't. Some situations people are actually wrong, and people are victims, and that is just what it is. But you know, people who are playing a part of their own toxic programming patterns and narratives, bro, and then they don't want to identify that. Like, you might as well just go and continue your life, because they're going to still be there. They're going to still be the same person, and they're going to still continue to do the same thing, you know. But abandonment wounds is how these people get in. They want community. All right. The moment that you start to feel I'm missing out on something. Oh, I want a man. Oh, I wanted this. Oh, I don't have money, so I want to do this. Right. And this person is selling you a dream. Oh, I want this get rich quick scheme. Right. It all starts from a lack. It all starts from some sort of insecurity or a wound. And instead of doing it and building it up the right way, because people don't realize, when you take shortcuts, when you try to get to the satisfaction or the desire or whatever, energetically, you are going to lose that thing because you took a shortcut. Meaning that when you go through different challenges in life and you go through different processes in life, you gain the ability to keep that thing. You gain, the knowledge. The knowledge brings what? Freedom. Desire, quick fix, all of that brings bondage. So you're going to lose it if you are not doing it the right way. And if you are not going, and that's why when we talk about Afro spiritual religions and we talk about like certain things, like back in the day, people would go through a rite of passage. Okay. When you go through college, you're getting a degree, and this shows and prove that you can do this, that, and the third. I was just talking to somebody, and I was like, bro, I developed so many skills just from going to college. Like, not as in like, oh, because who's talking about, oh, my degrees and where, at living as a college student and the organizational skills that you've developed and the skills of independence and autonomy that you get from that, from leaving the home, leaving the parent, leaving the state, leaving the, bruh. I'm telling you, it is worth every single freaking dime. You know, and even right now, they're like trying to dismantle the Department of Education, like all of these things. If you are a parent, put money to the side and save it for your children so they can go to college. If they can study abroad, that is even better. I tried, okay? I tried, but I grew up abroad. So, you know, but, what they were packaging wasn't really studying abroad. I was like, this is a ripoff. But what I'm saying, though, is that when you send your child off to become an adult, like there is a rite of passage, and you do develop skills just from experiencing life at that time and at that moment, that you just take that with you, you know, for the rest of your life. What else? Okay, yeah, so when you are in the energy of looking to be saved, looking to be loved, looking to be seen, looking to be chosen, looking to be selected, you know, it's from a wound that tells you that there's something wrong with you, or there is something wrong with how your life looks. And again, we have to have the conversation about how people look at the YouTubes and they look at the influencers and they look at that and say, oh, you know, I don't have that right now, or I don't, and then what seeps in that situation is not them falling for the wrong guy, or they're going to the wrong person, or taking the wrong get rich scheme deal. What comes out of that is a lot of low self-esteem issues which then manifest into depression and mental health issues, because they are being exposed to these narratives, and then they're seeing a lack in their life, and then they don't have the education or the tools or the know-how to figure out, how did this person become an influencer? How did this person get there? How did this, because there's a lot of gatekeeping in the influencer community. I'm just going to keep it a buck saying that. There's a lot of lying. There's a lot of facade. There's a lot of acting like they rich, you know, because, I mean, it's about, when people think you have money, they want to give you free things. It is so weird, right? They want to give you things. When you actually need things, you know, people don't want to give you nothing. And so when you identify that, oh, I'm living in the energy of abundance, I don't want for nothing, people are just going to give. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what influencers get off on, and they live off on, or whatever. And then a lot of them, the rent isn't being paid, because a lot of things, there isn't a monetary gain, but there is a value in that. Okay, you get free clothes, you get this, you get that, whatever, right? But yeah, anyway. But when it comes to that, what seeps in is the energy of the attack on the mind, the attack on the self-esteem, not believing in oneself, whatever, whatever. But if you have the right energy, I know when I see people online, I actually was just watching something. I was like, I'm inspired. Like when you see people doing things and you want to do that, you get inspired. I don't know, like when you have the right energy in you, you get inspired. You get inspired to create. You get inspired to do more. You're not in the energy of like, oh, I don't like this person because this person does that. No, no, no. Like, no, bro. Like when you understand your power, you understand your value, and you know you have a can-do attitude for real. Like, you know, I can do this thing. You get inspired and you get happy when you see other people who are operating in their passion or living in their passion. Like, it's you know, it's a synergy, you know. It's a synergy when you are in the right mind frame and when you have the right spirit within you. But yeah, so abandonment wounds, a lack of resources. We talked about that. You go after anything shiny or with money because it's a lack of resources. And then on the other end, if you are a person who is well off, who has abundance, who has money, who has the resources, you yourself have to have spiritual discernment to be able to identify, because some people, they have this wound and they have these lack and they have all of that, but they're not the suckers. They're not the ones being suckered in the cults and stuff like that. They're the ones who they're trying to sucker the person who has the money. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to sucker the person who has the resources so they can come up. So it really just depends on like how some people can have certain wounds and they become like that Jay-Z energy. He grew up, he didn't have a lot, but he was like, I'm gonna get to this money, and he's still getting to this money. You know what I'm saying? So people can develop a sense of genius and ingenuity from a lack. And they can be like, I'm not about to be the one stuck out. So I'm gonna do what I gotta do because I'm not gonna be the one stuck out. My stomach, I'm not gonna be the one for my stomach to be touching my back. I'm not even gonna let nobody. I'm not gonna even give myself the chance to be knocked off my throne. I'm not even gonna give myself the chance to be broke again. Like some people, their wounds, whether it's their lack, whatever that lack is, whatever that wound is. And that's the thing, like a wound is a wound and you can choose to treat it many different ways. And some people, they go the sucker route where they're like, oh, well, I'm going to go to the cult. Well, they don't know it's a cult, you know, but they're programming. That's what I'm saying. Like your programming is not just your mentality. It's not just your mind. Your programming is subconscious. And that's when things get a little tricky. That's when people, it's like they can't identify really what's happening, but it feels good, and they're like, oh, well, this feels great, this feels like home. But what was home in the first place? You know what I'm saying? What was home in the first place? Let's dive into that to be able to identify if this is something for your highest good or not. I do believe that everything is for your highest good. I believe that life is your best friend. I believe that life is trying to teach you. Okay, life is trying to teach you and educate you. And like I said earlier, education brings in healing, and healing brings in freedom. So life is trying to show you over and over again within those trials, tribulations, and those challenges. It's trying to direct you out of your bondage, whatever you're stuck in, whatever is impeding upon you, whatever is blocking your way, or whatever. And that reminds me a lot of Ganesha. I kind of talk about Ganesha a lot, but she's a Hindu deity. I want to say, is it a he? But anyway, I like the symbolism of Ganesha because Ganesha is an elephant, right? An elephant can block anything, right? So you can identify when Ganesha is in your life, because here's the thing. If someone else tries to put an obstacle in front of you, and you are on path, you are on purpose, you are on passion, you are on mission, and you are on calling, but someone jealous, envious, out of, alignment, whatever, they are purposely trying to impede and stop your path. Ganesha, by the size of an elephant, will clear it, will bulldoze it and clear it out of the way. And we talk a lot about in different spiritual practices, road openers and things like that. So kind of look at it as like a Hindi road opener. Now, people discount elephants and their intelligence because of their size. A lot of people are afraid of elephants because of their size. They're not afraid of them because of their intellect. Once an elephant sees you, they will always know your face and remember you. Elephants, during the full moon, they go down to the closest water source that they have, and they go and wash themselves under a full moon. Okay, you are supposed to do your spiritual baths, your cleansing baths under a full moon. So there's a lot of intelligence that elephants have that is really being discounted. The bottom of an elephant's foot has basically like echolocation, like how they can feel from the vibrations of the ground. If y'all ever watched Avatar, The Last Airbender, Aang, the chick, she was blind. She was blind, and she was from the is it Earth Nation? What did they call it? She was from Boston Say, yeah, nerding out. I think it's the Earth Nation, yeah, because they had the Fire Nation, the Air, the Earth Nation. And she was blind, but she can see from the vibration of her feet. She can tell how far somebody was away or whatever. Elephants have that, right? So listen, if you are in a situation, and so somebody, you're stuck. You're stuck. So again, this could be a karmic situation. This could be a karmic cycle, whatever. Or this could be somebody sending you whatever it is. Evil eye, whatever. They're just trying to block something. If it is done in malice, the way will be cleared. If it is done because it is a karmic cycle in which you have to get the intelligence, Ganesha will stay there until you learn the lesson, until you get the intelligence, until you learn the pattern, right? The toxic pattern or whatever. It's basically like in this way of life, in this walk of life, if you come up against a boulder or whatever, or a boulder is rolled on your path, you have to stop. So Ganesha, through divine guidance, identifies, oh, well, this is a karmic boulder. So you got to learn how to get around the boulder. That's the only way we can help you, is by you gaining the knowledge. That's one route. Second route is, okay, somebody manipulated and put this boulder through man manipulation or whatever, put this block in the way. We are going to open up another path for you. We're going to remove it. You know how in the Bible it says, or how people say, what God has for me is for me, and what God has for you is for you. It's basically the same kind of symbolism, that no matter what is yours, nothing can get in the way of that. Okay? And I get on here and I talk, and I'm a spiritualist and all these things, but I tell people all the time, like, bro, that witchcraft shit, like, and the thing is, I'm a person, I do a lot of cleansings, I do a lot of removing, I'm here to be in my energy, and I'm here to be focused on God and what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't care nothing about no goddamn man. I don't give a shit about no goddamn relationship, no fucking love spell, no evil eye. I don't give a shit about any of that. Right? And you also, when you're doing like cleansing work and all that stuff, you have to really be in your power. Like, you gotta really, like, if you're not a person who will actually like defend themselves, and like somebody come up to you, and if you're a person that won't swing, you might as well go put up all of that, put all that shit up, put the candle up, put everything up. Because the thing is, you have to operate in the energy of autonomy. Like, you have to really be about that life. Like, I'm really about that life. Like, So when you are releasing and you're doing things, or you're doing your black candles or whatever it is, your energy is like within that. So if you like on some weird, oh, I'm jealous of this person and I'm trying to keep this man. If you can't keep the man, that's not your man. Like, I don't care what candles that you light in. I don't care if you're killing yourself in the gym. I don't care what it is you're doing. Like, if you can't keep a man, that man is not for you. And you just trying to prolong the separation, basically. It's just what I'm saying. So, and again, that is in the energy of like low self-esteem, codependency. Like, you got to be in the energy. Like, I'm in the energy of that. I'm in that Empress vibe. Like, if I got to get it out the mud, I'm going to get it out the mud. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe in me. Like, I believe in God and I believe in me. So I'm not sitting and I'm not waiting around. I'm not, you sitting, you wait around, you get rescued, and you're doing low tier shit. You're not showing up for yourself. I feel like when you cannot take care of yourself, you are in the danger zone, bro. Like and I also believe that like God put life in your body to get up and do something. So if you sitting there around every single day and one thing I can't stand, and it's funny because like I feel like I'm becoming my papa a little bit. He used to always say he can't stand lazy people and all this stuff. One thing I can't stand is a bump on the log. That's one of the most unattractive damn things that you can ever be. Because I'm gonna go get my little workout in. I'm gonna go and work on my passion. Get up, do my videos. Whatever. Sit down, write, and journal. I'm gonna get my reading done. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run. Whatever. I'm gonna go to work. All these things, but and to each his own. I'm not saying that is like it, but I mean, according to the Bible, it is. Sloth is a low vibrational activity, and that's something that I don't that's something that is very off-putting to me. If it's trash down in the kitchen and you dealing with a man and he ain't gonna take out that trash, he haven't even got up and checked all day because he on the video games, or he laying in bed, or he Netflixing. Man, let me tell you something. The way my grandfather raised me, honey, no, sir. Absolutely not. You're not going to sit up in here like a goddamn bump on a log. And you want some? And you want to be looked at as a provider? And you want to run the household? And you want to tell me what to do? Oh, baby. No, folks, and it's weird because to me, I mean, again, it's not about me. Like everybody has a different way of living, but to be a part of that is to be out of your rabbit ass mind. That's in my, that's what I believe. But there has to be a balance to everything because you can't overwork. You overwork, you get sick. You underwork, you get sick. That's it. And that's another thing, like sickness, mental illness, and things like that. Addiction, like the energies behind it. Because I'm talking about the energies. The energies behind all those energies, they're looking for idle minds, idle hands, to be idle, to just, obsession. The energy of obsession visits people who are idle. The energy of envy and jealousy is that it visits people who are idle. Even in terms of like, I don't play about, and I'm even getting even bigger in that, like to the utmost. I'm not gonna say to what degree, but when people are nasty and dirty, like cleanliness is next to godliness. Okay, cleanliness is next to godliness. So if your house, your living area, whatever, you got trash everywhere, you got food everywhere, whatever, if you bring in rats, roaches, parasitic energy, you are attracting demons. Period. Okay. And I was saying not too long ago, like, I was in the South, when it gets hot outside, the little ants and critters, they come in through like literally like the cracks in the foundation and stuff like that. And you can get rid of fire ant. You can get rid of ants with cinnamon. You can get rid of any rodent with cinnamon. Okay. And we talk about like that fall energy. And Mabon, if you want to talk about it in the more Anglo-Saxon way. But, around like the fall witchy vibe that people have, they on Instagram and all that, whatever. And all of a sudden you see cinnamon brooms in your Trader Joe's around fall time. And you're supposed to put the broom over your front and back door. And it's funny, though. I don't care if you're on the African side, like spiritual side, more so hoodoo side, or if you are on like the Celtic side, droid side, like more like Anglo-Saxon spirituality side, which I actually got a homeboy who's on that side. Brooms are very significant in spirituality. Okay, brooms, cleanliness, the cleansingness of the house, sweeping negative energy out of the house, putting up brooms that smell like cinnamon. So around, listen, around the fall time, when we get longer nights, when darkness is longer, right? All of a sudden, you see cinnamon brooms for sale. Like, if you, I have a broom in here. I got a broom in my room. It's brooms all about a five. It's broom. I buy them. Okay, baby, cinnamon can run the devil off. If you are dealing with somebody who has demonic energy within them or low vibration, and people talk about this, people could call folks crazy, whatever, but let me tell you something. One thing I know how to do is run the devil off, and one thing that I don't play with is the devil. And even if people get it misconstrued, oh, you're doing tarot, and oh, you're doing this, and oh, you're doing that. Tarot is an energetic tool. In itself, it is not demonic. It picks up on the energy of where it is at. So you have to learn, you have to see the value of energy and then learn how to manage your energy and learn how to cleanse your energy. Okay? Folks who are nasty attract nasty energy. Like, people who are in nasty energy attract like that. It's all energy, guys. It's all energy, okay? If a person is parasitic in nature and they need other people to survive, they are on the level of a parasitic energy. And if they are not trying to do, if they're not, because a human can change their vibration. A roach can't. A rat can't. You see what I'm saying? So you have to, and then we can lean into the side of understanding, like, how we talk about nature and seeing omens in nature and insects and things like that. I'm telling you, bro, there's a rhyme and reason to God's universe, okay? And I'm not telling you to believe and put your total end all be all into this or that practice or whatever. But what I'm saying is, understand that there is truth and there is knowledge in a lot of, like, spiritual aspects, and even understanding the seasons, okay? And understanding that everything is energy, period. And a lot of things that, like what the Bible is telling you how to man your energy. The Bible is telling you how to make the best decisions for yourself, okay? Period. The Bible is trying to keep you and steer you clear, all right, from bullshit. Negative energies. Because the thing is, people can walk around with a beautiful mask and it's hard to identify the energy within. So the Bible tells you a lot of things, right? You are looking for what? You are looking for the fruits of the spirit in people. I don't care if they got on Givenchy, okay? I don't care if they got on Tega, you know what I'm saying? I don't care if they got on the hottest Supreme drop. You know, I don't care. I don't care if they in the latest Louis Vuitton. Okay, I don't care. You have to be able to use the spiritual discernment to identify. And again, whatever spiritual text you identify with, you subscribe to, whatever it is, you know, you use those tools. You use that discernment, and whatever language that they use to describe discernment and intuition, you use that. Right? To identify if this person is for my highest good or not. Right? And if you can identify, because I do believe this sometimes, I do believe in karmic contracts and things like that. When you can't identify things, sometimes it's because you really got to go through that. It's because you really have to go through that relationship. You, like I'm saying with Ganesha, you really got to gain the knowledge. Sometimes, like, yeah, people can be trying to stop you or block you or put certain things in the way. But the thing is that if you really made for some shit, that's what I be telling people. People who are made for the position that they're in, they can't wait for the day for somebody to be like, I'm going to take your spot. Or I'm going to try to take your spot. And it's not about ego. It's not about any of that. But it's about identifying that, like, God put me here. God put you here for a certain path and purpose. And if it is God ordained, and if God is with you, who can be against you? Nobody. Nothing. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So if people try to put in obstacles in front of your way, it don't matter. If you are destined to have a divine relationship, that is going to happen for you. Okay, if you are destined to be some big famous whatever, that is going to happen for you, right? And we can even talk about Beyonce. I believe that Beyonce lives the life that she lives because she was born for that shit. Beyonce was born and made to be what she is. A lot of times we are born to do things. And people who have not identified what they are born to do, or they feel like what they are born to do isn't as glamorous or as magnificent, or all that is ego. All that is ego, because a lot of people who are in the public eye don't want to be in the public eye. You know, a lot of people recognize that they have a calling, but there's sacrifice that comes with that calling, you know? So a lot of people, they are walking and they're being obedient, but it is not it's not peachy keen, you know? And people look at other people's life and think that everything is peachy keen and da 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 da. And sometimes it's just not, you know? Or, you know, so yeah. And people get on here and they talk about destiny swap and all that stuff. I don't believe in none of that shit. Just in terms of like, if you are in the energy and you showing up day in and day out for whatever your mission is, like, if you are on a God ordained mission, bro, like, there's not a human on earth. In order for a destiny to be swapped, that's why I tell people that people rely so heavy on like, oh, this witchcraft stuff, blah 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 blah. In the Bible, it tells you, what's it, the book of Job? It could have been one of them. Can't think of it exact. But in the Bible, it says that the devil has to go to God to remove certain coverings. That's what I was saying, even with the energy of Ganesha. Like, this is literally the same energy, right? Ganesha protects you and removes blockages out of your way when those blockages are man-made. What is man-made blockages? That is the manipulation of energy. What is the manipulation of energy? That is witchcraft, right? So if somebody is trying to stop you or whatever, and this is God ordained and this is your path is your path. So you can, whatever, it could be a delay or whatever, but even delays, rejection is God's protection. If that relationship didn't work out, it was for a reason. It was for a reason. And you have to learn how to surrender, and you have to learn how to be submissive to God's way. Like, what is, a lot of times we have these desires and we have these wants, and we don't even know that these desires and wants is rooted in what I was talking about earlier. Freaking wounds, abandonment wounds, you know, and we're not even identifying that. We can't even see that. And that's what I was saying, that some things you got to go through to be able to learn and gain the knowledge. Oh, I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to fall for that again. You ain't going to find me over there again, because you got the intelligence now and you have the education to not do so, right? Because when you know better, you do better. Well, you're supposed to. If you know better and you don't do better, then you a fool. And that's just what it is. You're going to stay in the same cycle over and 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 over again until you decide that you're sick of it. Sick of it. Okay, but man, whew, I got on here and really talked, but I'm happy because this was laid on my spirit. People have to be out here online and they have to use the energy of spiritual discernment. Stop, even, bro, I have gone to mega churches, bro. I've gone to, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm supposed to do something like I'm supposed to call out the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when I go to these places, like, there are people who are gung-ho for certain, like, mega churches and all this stuff. And I go in there and I'm like, nope. Nope. And let me tell you something. When you go into different churches and stuff like that, and if you have the discernment to identify that the pastor is wearing a mask, well, if you have deep understanding of spiritual knowledge and you understand that God operates in truth, God cannot use you if you're not in your truth. You hear me? I went to a church one time. I said, this man is gay as all get out on the pulpit. Now, here's the thing. I love the queer community. Love the queer community. I think that they have so much love to give, and they are a community that is a safe space. And you can be for that, be whatever, opposition to that, whatever. But I know what I know, and I'm telling you that there is real love within the queer community. in terms of they really love and care for people, and I think it's because they have been kicked out and abandoned and hurt, and they are a community that receives a lot of hate, and they understand the power of love, and you just can't like fake that, you know. And I find even in the black community, black women are one of the most nurturing creatures on earth. Give you the shirt off their back, just very loving, very nurturing. But black women have over nurtured. We've over nurtured our sons, our brothers, our cousins, to the point to where they don't know how to be, you know. So I think we're having a switch in that feminine energy. There's a switch happening in that. But when you are not in your truth, because this is the thing. So I went to the church. Dude was on the pulpit, and I was like, nope, something not right. I was like, this dude is not in his truth. So understand this: if you are not in your truth, right? If you are not in your truth, okay, God's energy is love and in truth. So if you are not in your truth, you are operating in an energy that is outside of God. That means you are not in alignment. And maybe we can fall, I don't know, because I don't know everything. Maybe we can fall in and out of alignment, right? I don't know. But I think in order to really deeply be used by God, and I also believe that, you know, God can use anybody in anything. Like, you don't have to be perfect. Like, I don't think that, like, you know, and even through Jesus's process with the disciples and everything, and they were not perfect, right? But God used them. I don't think perfection is it. I don't think perfection is a prerequisite to be used by God. But I also, though, you have to understand that all of the disciples, they were operating in their truth, though. Like, Peter was like, "Oh God, I got that thing on me," you know. He was operating in his truth. He cut that man ear off, and Jesus was like, "I'm so sorry. Let me put this back on," you know. But he wasn't trying to hide that, is what I'm trying to say. He wasn't trying to hide that, right? Levi was a tax collector, and people just didn't like tax collectors, you know. But he was like, "Shit, that's what I am," you know. Levi was in his truth. He was like, "Whatever, dude," you know. So, you have to be in your truth, and so it would be different if he was up there and he was being truthful about, like, Donnie McClurkin. Donnie McClurkin said, "I'm a gay man, but I just have to sacrifice that part of me," you know. So I looked up. I said, "Oh no, it's something wrong with this man." Not in a judgmental way, but I knew within my discernment that energy wasn't correct. So I was like, nah. I went to another church. I was like, man, this man here greedy. And not only greedy, but he got the energy of gluttony on him. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I do believe that in order to lead, you got to come correct. And you got to come in your truth. And so if you're not doing that, if these people are not doing that, then I probe the question of, okay, then what energy are you really in? Like what you really, like, what's your mission for real? You know what I'm saying? What's your mission, and like, what side are you on? Not to make everything black and white, but like, what are you doing, and like, what are you doing it for, and like, what is the true intention here? So and again, what is the true intention? Like, everything for me, it just operates in truth. That's it. So once I can identify that somebody is not operating in their truth, and it's crazy because I pegged it right, because later on he was in multiple scandals for cheating on his wife and all these things. But what I saw, still hasn't come out yet. But what he's doing plays a part in that, and identifying with, like, what's really happening, what's really going on. And from the story of his original wound, what I'm saying is right on par. So whether it comes out or not, whatever. I just knew that if you are not a person who is walking in your truth, because the truth removes shame, it removes fear, it removes a lot of things that the Bible tells you to, like, God tells you not to fear, not to worry. You know, a person who lives in fear or worry is equivalent to an unbeliever, right? So, like, Peter was walking in his truth. Okay, I got an anger problem, but I love God. You know what I mean? So, like, if you're not really walking in your truth, it's all about alignment. If you are out of alignment with the energy of truth, and if God is in alignment with the energy of truth and love, then what agenda is you on? You know? So I asked that, you know, I'm just very discerning. I'm very discerning. I've just have always been like that. I'm a late bloomer because of that. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do the research. I'm going to figure out what this feels like. And this all goes into the entail of, like, not being caught up in the formula of a cult. Like, if you checking your work and you doing the math, then you're not going to fall prey to this. And I think that this needs to be talked about because social media is really taking over people's minds. Oh, another thing I want to talk about, switching gears, but watching Dancing with the Devil, I noticed that what their wound was, or what they were looking for, or what the opening to allowing this cult leader in, what that was, is because they were all looking for fame. They were all looking for riches and fame and all of that, and that's something else. You know, feeling that, you know, you're not being seen. I'm telling you, bro, a lot of the wrong path starts with feeling like there's a lack in your life. Even the wrong characteristics, becoming a conniving, scheming, lying ass motherfucker. All of that starts with, I have a lack, but I don't want to be honest about the lack that I have, so now I'm going to be slick. And I'm going to try to talk people into giving me their money. And I'm going to try to play this part. And I'm going to try to act like I'm a boyfriend, but I really want to move in on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. So you really just have to, like you really just have to operate in the energy discernment. And I don't really know how to, like, teach people how to identify. All I can say, I don't know how to teach people how to identify, like, how to be able to see people's truth, like, looking at them. But all I can say is, like, be as close to God as you possibly can. And always pray for God's guidance. Maybe that's why it is, because that's like my prayer. Like, I be praying, Lord. I'm to the point to where I'm just obedient. Like, I'm like, bro, if it's bad news for me, just send me the other way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even. And also, people gotta understand that, like, gatekeeping, keeping your account on private and all this stuff, baby. Let me tell you something. That's protection. These small little ways, not hanging out with every damn body and they mama. I don't need all that. I'm confident in who I am. I don't need nobody else external, whether it's validation. I don't need any of that. So I don't have to go out and be around all the. Now, true community is true community, and I fuck with that. Like, true community is, you know, good. But a lot of people aren't in community and being around people with the right intention and things like that, you know. And it's hard. It's hard to find genuine people. It's hard to find truthful people. It's hard to find people who will hold themselves accountable, bro. Like, it's hard to find people who really, like, on their path. And it's crazy, we're on their journey or on their healing journey. But it's crazy because you can meet somebody on their healing journey and then, like, they're about that life to a certain point. You know what I mean? Like, I met somebody and I feel like they're on their healing journey, but it's not as evil, and it's not even trying to, like, oh, put this against whatever. they're just not as evolved as and that's not even to put me in this big old whatever, but I just believe that like we supposed to do our part. And once I identify a person that like, because I believe that if you love people, then you do your part and you show up. You show up for the collective to make it better, even outside of yourself. A lot of people spiritual bypass. Oh, I'm just, I'm gonna act like, oh, I'm gonna just pray about it, and man, faith without works is dead. And I was talking to somebody about that too. I called it the Moses effect. If Moses didn't listen to God, and if he never took action, if he never got up, what would have happened, right? And how there are other characters in history who has that Moses effect. That's what I'm calling it. Like MLK had Moses effect. Harriet Tubman had the Moses effect. You can sit up there and pray all day and all night. You can sit up there and pray in captivity. But when in the hell are you going? In the Bible it says God favors the what? The bold. So you just gonna sit there and keep praying. You're gonna sit there and keep praying. You're just gonna sit there and keep praying. What God said, faith without what? Faith without works is dead. So I don't believe in any type of spiritual bypassing. I believe in doing the work. I believe in being activated. I believe in being passionate. I believe in being courageous and taking action toward doing the right thing, or selecting the highest vibration for yourself. Doing that. That's just what it is. And for me, sometimes I feel like I want to find a medium or avenue where I can do more, but I don't know. Like this, like me talking, expressing, and I finally came to the conclusion, just like I don't care. Like I'm just putting it out. I'm doing this. I'm being obedient. I'm putting it out. And however it lands, however it goes, whoever sees it, that's out of my hands. Like a lot of people do influence it and all this stuff for numbers and for the logarithm and for all the stats and the money and all that stuff. I don't even do personal readings no more, and I don't want to do them no more, and I don't think I will do them anymore. I just. Cause like I'm starting to understand like how valuable my time is, and it got to the point where it's like trying to take care of self. I'm trying to do this, trying to do that, and then I do that. Like I was like almost like resenting it. I was like, damn, I don't want to do this, but I was like forcing myself to like get things done. And then you have some people who are like they're siphoning and using your energy. They're using your gifts, but they're not doing anything to change like their situation, or they want to know how this person feels. Open up your mouth and have a conversation. If a person is not talking to you, well, what does that mean? Okay. If a person will not answer a phone call, if you cannot talk to them, if you don't ask me how they feel, because a lot of that can create a lot of illusion and delusion, and it's just what it is. But it's funny though, because like my guides and everything are very truthful, and at the end of the day, we're focused on healing, and we're gonna get down to the bottom of it, of like, all right, it's time to let that person kick rocks and move forward, still operating the energy of truth, but there have been times where I've identified toxic things in like love readings, and the person was like, oh my god, I'm so happy because this came out about this person, and so yeah, sometimes it's almost like you're the, like if you're doing a reading, it's almost like you're the intuition that they like can't feel or can't identify, or they for some reason they just can't see, and you're helping them through the process or whatever, but that's it. That's all I have to say. This has been like, I don't know, I know somebody needs to hear this, because like it's just been in the back of my freaking head about like, I'm like, how are these people falling for all this nonsense? Like, it's really what it is. It's nonsense. Okay, it's nonsense. Like, don't fall for the savior trope. Voting for something you think that they just gonna say no. Only God can do that. Okay, only God can do that, and humans are not gods, and you got to be careful with that. You do. You got to be real careful with that because a lot of countries that are closed off to the world, they view their dictator as a god. So be careful what you ask for. A lot of people they I don't know what it is. I don't for some people they're doing this because it's like social and they're like, oh, well, but we are on slippery slopes here. Okay, we are on Nazi Germany slopes here. And if if you know history, this is why I tell people all the time. I love that I got an art history degree because, like, dude, artists at the time, they were painting like what was happening. Like Pablo Picasso was painting. He has a painting called Guernica, and Guernica was basically in connection to like a historical war that was happening at that time. So a lot of times when you are studying art history, there's a lot of different symbolisms and things that is being talked about. There's a lot of representation historically that's being spelled out on canvas with these paintings at the time, and you end up with understanding a lot about history, war, world history, global history through just knowing art history. Like for instance, Bauhaus, or you can call it Bauhaus, Bauh, is literally connected to like that that Swedish area. A lot of that was going on with Nazi Germany at the time, was connected, or certain styles certain styles, design styles, artistic styles came out as a manifestation of different ideas and thoughts or thought groups that were based on politics at the time. So it's just a lot. Even around the time like when Winston Churchill was like doing his whole run, art was very much so affected by that. There's a lot of things where government life of dandies, the flaneur, around Europe at that time was super. Even if we talk about Mary Cassatt, she only did paintings in places where women were acceptable, which is like the patio at home, cats, tea sets, gardenscapes, other women hanging out, within the home and things of that nature. But if you were to look at a male artist at that time, they could do works within cityscapes, landscapes, different social scenes, saloons, whatever you want to call it, salons. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm for the arts. I'm for the library. I'm for the books, honey. I'm for the history because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Period. Okay. But like I said earlier, the mind isn't the only thing that can get in the way. Some people have a lack of emotional intelligence, and because of that, they fall prey to the formula of cults. So that's it. Okay, I want to talk about this though, and we see this a lot in the spiritual community. We see spiritual psychosis as well. And it's weird. I started noticing that too. People who fall prey to who was falling prey to the whole MAGA stuff, whatever. A lot of them were going into spiritual psychosis because Christianity is used a lot to manipulate and brainwash. And that even goes into how like there were a lot of people in the black community who were a part of that too, and it just didn't make sense because the policies and all that is total opposite of that for that community. And it's because they go to church and they sit in the pews, right? And then all of a sudden, one of these famous pastors was on stage and had a heart attack. Baby, quit playing. Quit playing with God and stop trying to manipulate his people. Okay? But I'm just where I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm just where I am and where I'm positioned, and that's it. But I be seeing and I be noticing. Okay? That's why I don't do. Y'all will not see me doing entertainment pastors and all this stuff. Same pastor shaking hands with folks who are making policies that are causing people to die. That's why I don't understand. That's why I'm like, now I kind of want to deeper understand, like, what does religion do to the brain that shuts down the logical side? Because for me, I saw that specific pastor shaking hands with a governor who is literally like a movie villain, who is causing a lot of harm and hurt and pain to folks who are sick, handicapped. You know, it just doesn't make sense, and none of it aligns. So you get on the pulpit on Sundays and you talk about all these things about God and all this stuff, and then you're doing backdoor deals and shaking hands with people who are going against the children of God. And then got on stage and had a heart attack. And then got off of it and removed and handed the church down to, I don't know who it is now. But that's what I'm saying. And that's another thing that I just be, or even with this whole flood that happened, that county rejected funds from Biden for an emergency call system because he was a Democrat. And then in comes a damn 20-foot flood. I be telling people, stop playing with God. And that's the thing. People, I don't know what it is. But what I can tell you is that God is real. God is real, and he don't like being fooled with, and he don't like being played with. And it's funny because God will let you be in your pigsty for a very long time. God will let you sit in your shit for a very long time and still give you compassion and still offer you grace. Still offer you grace. Whole time people think, oh, I'm getting over. God see you when you greedy. He see you when you in your flesh. And we are all human. You know what I'm saying? We're all human. But if you want to find out who the biggest comedian is God. Because you will start to see the irony in things. You will really start to see the irony in things, and you're like, oh my God. But it's not funny. You see the irony in it, but in the irony, you also start to see, like, you know what? You know, like, hold on. Let me not. Because, But that's what I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to say. I'm sending y'all love, and I'm sending y'all lights. Hope you guys are doing well. Again, I just sat up here and talked for 2 hours. I think I'm going to do the thingy. I'm going to do like a little breakdown of like what all is going on. But I really hit on a lot of good things. Okay? Sending y'all love and light. Peace.